So Sue and I feel so blessed to be here with John and Karina Stewart, special dear friends. They they are co-founders of Kamalaya, an award-winning resort in Thailand.
Wellness retreat.
It's a jewel. It is a jewel. It's on Koh Samui.
Heaven.
It's heaven. And we were blessed. We have never experienced, a destination wellness retreat with the integration, the full integration of spiritual wellness, and that full integration of spiritual awakening, mind, body, and spirit, is embodied by John and Karina. So I would love John and Karina to share more about. I want to shine a light. I want to shine a light on both of you, it's because people need to know the extraordinary people you are, because the jewel you've created, that people flock, from world leaders. Your guests are world leaders, and you've won all these awards, but it starts with you. And we've been talking about themes of awakening conscious leadership. Yeah. And you inspire me as the very essence of awakened conscious leaders. So I would love you to share a little bit about your history, both of you, and Kamalaya, the special place that Kamalaya is.
Danny, thank you. Sue, thank you. I do have to laugh. I do have to laugh a little bit because I want to ask you all these questions. So, you're very agile. I would say you're great at mental Tai Chi. It's beautiful. Thank you. Well, first of all, let me say that just like having this communion and connection that we're having right now is the most meaningful to both of us. I'll speak for myself that we could imagine. And thank you for the time, for the very, very precious time. And you both look radiant. You look like you're glowing from within and without. And I feel the heartfulness, and it just blows me away with everything you are going through, that this is the place that you're in right now and beaming across to us and having, I can feel the fullness in my chest. So thank you. I'm deeply grateful. Yeah, I also have to say that the Awakening Conscious Leadership 2-hour workshop that we did last week blew my sockets wide open. I needed it. The timing was perfect. And it was like the missing piece to my whole journey. I've come on that journey, but through a different angle, through the angle of the Asian philosophies and Asian spiritual practices, and a very mystical family and healing family I come from. And it just was a different angle, but so heartful, or I should say, and so heartful, along with the science. And in such a short period of time, the connection I felt with the people I had my breakout session with, the facilitator, you, of course, Danny, and everyone there, it blew me away. It was very tearful for me, and I'm immensely grateful and plan to continue that journey to the 3-day in August, etc. But I want to say that I think for me, the path of the heart has always been primary. Sorry.
You have nothing to apologize for.
And it's sometimes really hard to bring that heartfulness into all settings, in particularly business settings or board meetings or financial meetings in the business world, because it's hard to validate it. It's
Yes.
hard to speak about it in a way that people will realize that it's everything. Everything can hang off of that and support that, but it really is everything. And for me, I think part of what you did in that workshop was give me a language that would be helpful in that. Um, Kamalaya is anchored in that. Sorry to be emotional and tearful. It's just all of this, you know.
I, let me just say, what you're expressing right now needs no apology. This is the point. It needs no apology. Conversely, what we need to be able to do is to affirm the beauty of what you're expressing. What you're crying for. We cry for two reasons. We cry for grieving of what's lost. But why you're crying, I believe, is you're crying for what you're connecting with.
Yes, but what is found?
You're crying for what you're yearning for. You're crying. You're crying. You're making a statement. And that's empowering. You should, both ways, either way is affirming. Either way is affirming and needs no apology. And that's part of standing, taking a stand. What part of the, when people awaken their heart, when people first learn of my diagnosis, and some people cry. And I see that heart awakening. I'm incredibly happy for them. So, and the reason why, anytime the heart stirs is a positive moment, in my view. Anytime the heart stirs is, and it's just how do you use it? And so there's an outpouring inclination towards me, and I'll only take 5% of that. I'll only take 5% of that. I ask that you take 95% and radiating it inwards to soothe your own suffering, and then bring that out in powerful affirmation to elevate, to take a stand, to elevate your communities and the world at large. And that's what's catalyzed this extraordinary coalition with what we pulled together in the Global Wellness Institute. There were just extraordinary individuals that came together, that was unprecedented, that gathered, you know, that a lot of the Living Well from Within initiative catalyzed that gathering. But if I didn't have my cancer and there wasn't a heart awakening around that, and people weren't moved to gather in the space, that would never have happened. It's the same power. It's the same power that you have coming from the anchoring of your heart. And when you stir and when you get emotional, feeling beyond, feeling beyond the apology of that, exploring with curiosity asking the question, instead of the brain goes into an big, we're all conditioned to apologize for our emotions. Those, the heart has been considered a weak emotion, a weakness, particularly in business.
Yes.
Terms of endearment showed, Rajsa Soja's work showed that businesses that have heart outperform the market by 10-1. That's how powerful this is. So needs no apology. So the question is, what is my heart telling me? What is my heart telling me? What is my heart telling me in this emotionality? And how can I best serve well with what it's telling me? How can I take a stand with courage? Because the heart, the word courage, the root word is heart, right?
Yes, have heart, have courage.
Have heart.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. I think part of it is this sense of gratitude, and the connection that we have always felt with both of you from when we first met in Bali.
Yeah.
It just really comes alive again and again and again, but more poignantly, obviously, at this time for your personal journey, our personal journey, the global personal journey, everything is amplified and intensified. And so that really comes, and there's an immense feeling of connection, heart connection, and gratitude for this. And there's also the sense of the work you're doing in the midst of everything you're facing, everything you've shared, your immense courage, inspiration, motivation to share it, to give it out, to ignite, to ensure that it lives on and really give it back. And that I get to be one of the recipients, as I just was, but even just in our conversations, which have always been like that. Every conversation has always been, I walk away sort of floating, so full and so inspired.
Well, we're in a cycle of receiving and giving, because I am so inspired by you, Karina. I want people to know what an extraordinary healer you are in your own right.
Because, and John and Kamalaya, and the whole place you've built out.
We were going to come to John. John's story in a moment deserves his
own right.
His own right. And can you share? You have very impressive credentials. With which you serve others. Can you share more about the healing work you do?
Sure. In the most I don't want to say concise, but let's just say in this moment, the way I would like to share it is that I was raised in a very matriarchal family. I mean, I had a father, but there was a divorce, and in my mother's family, their lineage was of women healers, not formally, but just organically, naturally, very intuitive and very gifted. And so when I was about 8 or 9, my mother awakened to that in herself, though she had wanted to push it away, not wanting to, have it from her mother, when she had to seek solutions beyond the traditional medical system for one of my sisters. And so from a young age, I was raised in a home that respected, and there are a lot of doctors in my family, on my mother's side of the family, a lot of medical doctors, but she went this other route. And so I grew up with an appreciation and an environment that recognized the innate organic ability of us to heal when we're addressing emotions, when we're addressing our body, our spirit, our well-being, our community, et cetera, et cetera. And eventually that led to my studying traditional Chinese medicine as the pathway, as a major pathway. And I studied that in California. and then traveled to Japan, and then the next year to China to do 3-month internships in each country. Loved it, and felt I had found my life purpose and my life mission, and all I needed was a small clinic with 2 rooms and a herbal pharmacy. Along the way, I also studied yoga, meditation, Tai Chi, Qigong, food as medicine, really food as medicine. So this was just for me like breathing oxygen. Really, it was just the way things were. And then on my journey to India, John and I met, and I went there to deepen my spiritual path and learnings. And we became fast friends. And when he came to the States, then we became a couple. Um, Eventually, one of the first questions when we became a couple is, he said, would you like to one day create a place where all of your training in these different healing traditions and my training, which we'll get to in a minute, in his training, where healing and spirituality could be brought together and shared with people. And so I said yes. And, that's what I bring to Kamalaya. I bring my love and passion and my DNA and ectoplasm of healing, but really from the inside out, where it involves the mind and it involves the body and it involves the emotions and our lifestyle, very much the lifestyle, not in a, don't eat sugar, as not like that, in a much more comprehensive way. And that's what traditional Chinese medicine gave me the greatest depth. But so did yoga and qigong and all these things. And I think that's the side of the equation that I bring to Kamalaya and to our guests and to the team. For me, Kamalaya is not only for our guests, though our guests are certainly, the focus. Kamalaya was always created also for the team, and they know that and they feel it. And it's a whole ecosystem which you experience. And I think it's very, you can feel the harmony in it. There's not a
Amazing.
yeah, so I love food as medicine. Your passion of functional medicine, all of that came from me first from Chinese medicine, and then I moved into the Western science behind some of these things.
Amazing.
So, yeah, and I still am in love with what I do. I mean, I love it. I feel I'm grateful that I found something that feels so close to my heart.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
More recently, I immersed myself in a more psychological, psychoanalytical experience for the last 10 years, and that has been extraordinary. But all coming down ultimately within the frame of traditional Chinese medicine. Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know, maybe you want to hear. I feel like I've been
I
talking a
know,
lot.
yeah. Well, John, Karina just motioned to you. Would you like to share?
Well, I had the great good fortune as a young man, a very young man, to get inspired to go to India and meet a great teacher. And I think 16 years in the Himalayas as a yogi monk, as a disciple of a great Himalayan master, showed me the fruits and the truth that happiness comes through service. And one of the first things that my teacher taught me, there were so many first things actually, because it came quite suddenly, and he turned my life from kind of a footloose and fancy-free wandering young man to very purposeful and focused. And he taught me that happiness comes through service. He taught me that we create miracles by focusing our energy through our heart and with our emotions, and putting 100% of your effort into it, and that you can create and become and do anything. And we built a community in a remote part of the Himalayas that even today, multitudes, I mean, huge amounts of people come every year to see and visit and get inspired by the work that we did, 45 years ago. But along that journey, not only did I meet Karina when she came from Princeton to study with Babaji, but also Babaji said to me one day that I'm not if you really want to understand what I'm teaching you here, is one day you have to leave and build something yourself. You have to challenge yourself. And that's how you'll really, really understand it. And so when Karina and I decided to get married, 11 years later, Kamalaya became that dream. And we created out of raw jungle something really quite extraordinary. And we created something where we could translate everything that's precious from ancient cultures. We could translate into contemporary language, into a contemporary setting, and use these simple principles of service, of truth, simplicity, and love, and show people and inspire people to become better versions of themselves. And Kamalaya is really, it really truly is an extraordinary place, but we built the place that we wanted to live in, and we created programs that we wanted to live. So we really, we walk the talk that we share with our guests. And we've been very fortunate to inspire so many people. And I would like to add, at this point, we've known each other now for quite a few years. And from the first time that we met in Bali and we first started to really have these discussions, and I was so impressed that you could use all Western language, Western scientific and medical language to communicate and practice what I felt I was trying to live. And this workshop the other day really, it hit Karina and I both the same way, as we realized this is a generational step for Kamalaya, that we bring in this really much more pragmatic way of inspiring people, especially now that we have a younger audience and people really need to know how to lead from within. And that's what we live, breathe, and teach this in our own way. But now we're going to add everything that we're learning from you.
Yeah. Well, I would love to reflect on our time together. Was it about a year or two ago when we were in Kamalaya with you? It was 3 years ago. And it was one of the most extraordinary weeks of our life. And there were, I'm going to drop a link below this video in our playlist, and I'm going to send you for whatever purposes you want to use this video,
please,
which you're welcome to do. And I want everybody to take a look at the description below, just to, when John and Karina are talking about building a jewel in the jungle, it is extraordinary. I mean, I can't even begin to describe the breathtaking beauty. You've paid attention right from the beach to the bungalows to your wellness retreat center. It is truly world class. I've been to other destination spa retreats. It is truly world class.
The dining room,
the dining room,
the chefs, and the family style eating.
The tears,
that was so fun.
The attention to meticulous detail, the architecture, so just from an aesthetic point of view, it's the height of genuine, refined luxury. Luxury doesn't get at it. Soothing contentment gets more close at it.
We call it monk chic.
Oh, monk chic. Perfect. Monk chic. Perfect. So the programming is incredibly well designed. So you get an intake by a naturopath. I had an intake by naturopath. There was one of 5, 5 individuals I think had spiritual backgrounds. I had somebody had a background as monk who guided my 5-day journey that was infused, that was customized. So I've never had such a customized experience. And then the food, I want to speak to the food because that's her domain. And then the experience sitting around the community table. Yeah.
No, that was one of the most amazing parts that I found. Was just like the food is like 5-star restaurant quality, but it's all super healthy and so delicious. I don't think there's any wine there, but you don't even miss it because everything else.
We have wine. We have wine. But yeah, we have a good, lovely, actually, little wine cellar. Yeah, very, very lovely. But you're right. Most guests don't, they don't even think about it, but it's available.
Yeah, and everything was so fresh and aromatic and delicious, different styles of cuisine from Asian to French to like just healthy, California healthy, and so delicious. But also the community table, I mean, to be there for a week and then be able to meet guests and sit at the table with them, and like you're in summer camp, but this is like way beyond any summer camp any kid could ever imagine, right? This is fantasy summer camp, and it was fantastic to just linger over dinner and look forward to those meals together, meet friends, and hope to see them again. I know a lot of your guests are they return every year at the same time every year because they want to see each other from all different parts of the world.
Yes.
And
again.
Yeah, it is. It is. And you became part of that community, you became part of the community too.
Amazing. Yeah. And now you've been telling us that you're extending your reach due to the COVID shutdowns. And I think that's really incredible too, is to, do what you can in the face of a pandemic. Like, how do you go forward?
Well, that's exactly it's like adapting, but still maintaining the essence. And how we know that we're still able to do that, even under these very difficult circumstances, is that normally we have a repeat guest ratio of about 45, between 40-45, it fluctuates, percent repeat guests. And since we developed the domestic market, which means both Thai residents and then international residents in Thailand, we have an almost close to 70% repeat guest.
Wow.
And that's really extraordinary in only, how many months has that been? Not
about
even
9 months.
But in 9 months.
Amazing.
Amazing. So we know, and going back to like the essence, is like the essence is touching people's hearts.
Yes.
Being touched, allowing ourselves to be touched and touching people's hearts. And our team, they also live it. Yeah, you met the team. It's nothing you can train. It's something that they feel. And that, that's why we say feel life's potential, right? It's not, do your life potential, but it's like feel it. It's really about the heart.
Well, that is when my mom passed on, with her pancreatic cancer. The deepest lesson she taught me was the power of receiving and giving love. That is the healing cycle. So when you get into a cycle of receiving and giving love with others, that's the upward spiral in the brain. The downward spiral, the brain maps to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I'm just thinking about what a joy it was to actually share some of the Awakening Conscious Leadership discussion when I was there 3 years ago.
Yes. We've released those. Finally, the team found that they had been in there, and I said, "Where are they? And why aren't they?" And they found some, and they've been released on YouTube. I'll see if I can get the links to you.
Okay,
Yeah, great.
awesome, awesome,
Yeah.
awesome, awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. So okay.
Yeah, the conversation about that. I remember people were really engaged. Our guests.
Yes, yes. And so so the brain fundamentally maps to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you know, at the level of safety, love and belonging, and significance. And when demands exceed resources, we inevitably go down into a threat response, fight, flight, trigger into a state of reactivity.
Yeah.
And we go down to, you know, into the safety frame, foregoing love and belonging and foregoing significance, and becoming inevitably exhausted, disconnected, and with a reduced sense of purpose and significance. And a lot of people in this time of COVID feel exhaustion, disconnection,
Yes.
and a reduced sense of accomplishment. And those are the three gold standard definitions of burnout. So if anybody out there is feeling exhausted, disconnected, and reduced sense of accomplishment, please know this is not a weakness. This is just the way the brain is designed to respond to high demands and low and scarce resources, fragmented resources under times of stress. And it's not your fault. It's just, so have compassion for yourself.
Compassion for yourself.
Yeah. So the spiral, unlike fight, flight, trigger with others, the power of receiving and giving love is an upward spiral. So first drawing from the grace of God, receiving and giving love for ourselves with self-compassion, and then shifting into the receiving and giving love for others. Internally resources us to exceed or to match or exceed the demands at hand.
Yes.
To create a deeper sense of safety.
Yes.
To reconnect with ourselves.
Yeah.
To reconnect with the purpose and significance of our life. To get into a more cognitively flexible, creative mindset. So it is not only creates healing and health for ourselves personally, for our communities. And when I talk about communities, when I talk through the lens of business, when businesses heal, businesses flourish. And that's what explains Raj Sisodia's work, because businesses that flourish with, you know, a healthy culture become highly innovative with a creative mindset to unlock their potential and create raving fans of people that want to come back over and over again. And then that gives you the ability to create, to awaken people, your guests that awaken, go out and create rippling effects in the world and have an effect on creating global change, because you have world leaders that come to your to Kamalaya.
Yes. 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 It's beautiful. It's beautiful the way you tie it in like that.
Yeah.
And it's very much what happens. Somehow in this giving and exchanging love, people spiral up and they leave well-resourced, really well-resourced, and in a very different frame of mind. and frame of heart and frame of body to give, having it refilled. It's beautiful. I love that the way you use that for the stress and the things that can take us out and spiral us back out, what we care most about.
Yes.
You know, not like, oh my God, what now? But it's like, what do I care most about now?
Yes.
And
Yes.
that ages, that affect
Yeah.
to pull us forward, you know. And John and I care deeply, deeply about our friendship with you both.
Oh, we feel so blessed. We feel so blessed.
We feel the same about you too.
We so love and appreciate. Well, I think this feels like an appropriate place to actually bring our, you know, gathering to a close, because I want to respect people's time to, but don't. We'll pause the video.
Yes, yes. Won't go off
right now, but I feel called to ask if you want to share anything in closing, and for the purposes of everybody listening, and
Like, when can we in America get back to Kamalaya?
Well, it looks like August 1st, our last notice now is that August 1st, the Thai government is announcing it's going to do this new, please, yeah, let John.
From August 1st, people who are fully vaccinated can come to a resort in Koh Samui and spend 14 days in the resort, completely free, but in the resort before they're allowed to travel around the rest of the country. But that's completely different than a quarantine, and that's perfect for us because our guests mostly like
what a place to be
That's
quarantined.
pretty
That's
nice.
the ultimate place to be quarantined.
it's a free quarantine within the 15-acre site. So
Yeah, so it's not a quarantine, it's more like containment within the facility you're in. You come and you're vaccinated. And again, our guests usually don't leave Kamalaya. So that was very, very
Get
cool.
there and stay.
Oh my
And
God.
the door is wide open to you both. I know, you know,
Oh.
this is just.
we know you're vaccinated, so you're most welcome to come. Be
Yeah.
our guests.
And be our guest, absolutely.
And please be our guests again.
I think I would also want to say that there's never a better time to take care, you know, of our emotional, deep needs and our, you know, psychological needs, particularly after everything that we all seem to be. I mean, the demands have been great on pretty much everyone for different reasons, but everyone is being asked a lot of, and just to, you know, really look after yourselves wherever you are, whether it's online, whether it's, you know, awakening conscious leadership, whether it's Kamalaya. We also have some online things, kamalaya.connect. Our website has some online free content as well. But with, you know, pick up the phone, get on Zoom, like really reach out, don't isolate. I know for me, when I'm really maximally stressed, I do tend to isolate. So I really want to leave that message, because every time I don't, and I just say, reach out, I'm rewarded. And I feel like the exchange is mutual and in spades beyond what I could have imagined. So, you know, let's connect more and more. That's what I would want to also.
Well, so what a beautiful place to end. What you're talking about, you know, was about, you know, connecting with both the internal resources and external resources. So the internal resources are maximizing your self-care, and then reaching out to others is, you know, maximizing, you know, these external resources. And you know, and that's why we value our friendship so deeply. Your love, we so appreciate your love and support, especially, you know, at this time. that's deeply meaningful to us. We think you're extraordinary people. And we wish that many people watching this video can have the blessing of meeting you personally, preferably in Kamalaya. So have that experience with you there. And what you said about everybody taking care of themselves. So I feel moved to end so
Are you forgetting my name?
Invite you to close to wish you a blessed day, to wish you the resources through the challenges to flourish with healing, well-being, and
Love.
love. And I would love you to bring it home.
No, it's not putting me on the
That's
spot.
It's only forever.
Yes, John.
Yeah.
You are living your life to the fullest, Danny, and that is the biggest inspiration. And you are serving, and the two of you together, I know what it means to go through what you're going through.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you're so inspiring, and I feel so much love, and I feel so grateful that we can have this moment, and we will try to visit you.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
would love to see you. And
We're in America.
well,
it's wonderful to connect with you and look forward to seeing you in person, hopefully soon this month. And
Yes.
and I hope everybody is able to check out kamalaya.com and see your beautiful resort and consider it as a way to heal after a year of this COVID quarantine. I mean, I can't think of anything better, especially for all the young people who are out hitting the road now and wanting to travel and, see some of what they missed in the past year.
We're open.
Find the love and the health and well-being and relaxation that we were able to find at Kamalaya, especially with you.
Thank
amazing. Okay, amazing.
Thank you.